It's the regular season finale from Alabama. At the end of this night of racing, only 16 drivers will come away with a chance to win the 2026 Integrity Racing League Championship. 14 of these 16 spots have already been claimed. 2 are left open, and the bubble between 16th and the cut line is separate by just 1 point. At the fastest, largest circuit in stock car racing, the field will decide who makes the cut and who goes home empty-handed. From Lincoln, Alabama, this is the Talladega SuperSpeedway, and this is the Integrity Racing League's 23rd race of the season. Welcome back to coverage live on FTN Broadcasting. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. I'll be covering all of tonight's action from beginning to end, and it's time for some of the highest stakes qualifying of the season. Right now, sitting on the bubble is Eric McFarland, who currently has the provisional pole position by 3/1,000ths of a second. He sits ahead of Robert Richardson in the number 5, and so far, McFarland, the 16th man in points, is ahead of all that he needs to contest, including the driver closest to him in the championship, one Brad Patton. Patton is only 1 spot off, but it appears right now he is not on the circuit and is not taking a qualifying lap. 1 spot behind as well is Joe Yakes. Yakes in the 87. He's taking his time. He's gotten up to 4th, but he'll be knocked off by Bobby Keats' 3rd place lap of 53.992. Gets him right up there while David Davis shoots up to the top. Davis is in one of those final spots that has been unclaimed, 31 points above the cut line, and now with 1 minute and 13 seconds remaining, he leads the way over the rest of the field. James Thurston goes for a lap, his first, not quick enough for the pole position. Driver of the number 3 for Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport is now up to 8 victories on the season. Thurston has found a way to victory lane just about half the time he's been on the track, and with Ethan Lane out, he has a chance to level the playing field between them to just 1 win a difference between the 2 fastest guys on the racetrack. He lines up today, and he knows the championship is not possible for him due to the minimum start requirement, but he has the end goal of taking the checkered flag one more time, knowing that he is racing for every victory. Thurston gets it down to the apron. It is still David Davis at the top of the board in qualifying. Number 3 might be the only driver with a shot to beat him. For Thurston, that's a 54.103, not nearly fast enough. He'll fall down to the lower mid-pack, while Nick Tarbuck, with 10 seconds to go, doesn't quite have the stuff. Qualifying's coming to a close, and it looks like David Davis, who is not locked in, and Eric McFarland, the man on the bubble, lines up on the front row. For the first time this season, David Davis takes the pole position. Davis will lead the field. He has now something he hasn't had all season long. Top spot in qualifying and an opportunity to lead some laps very early before things get started. Davis and Eric McFarland are your front row. Of course, a lot of eyes on this number 33, who comes into this race 16th in the championship standings. He has the final spot that he would like to claim to take to the end of this race and make it above Brad Patton into the playoffs. However, he's going to have to drive through this one all 250 miles if he wants to secure that position and end up guaranteeing an opportunity to advance. Eric will start P2 on the day. And of course, he'll be on that front row that we mentioned just beforehand. But not only is there that one driver in Eric McFarland and the other in David Davis, but instead there's many more to talk about. So we'll go from top to bottom and discuss each and every one of them. From the top of the board down, your starting grid begins with one David Davis, who takes the pole position for the first time this season. It's his first pole position, 23 races in, and he finally makes it happen alongside Eric McFarland, Bobby Bobby Keith is P3. Robert Richardson is P4. Brock Potter takes the 5th place. And keep in mind again, it is Eric McFarland second, and he's the final driver in the playoff picture. He will need the opportunity to win or advance by means of a great points race. Bobby Keith is 3rd, Richardson 4th, Potter 5th, and Joe Yates 6th. As we discussed, then you'll have to go to the 7th place to see Austin Cardule, who finds himself the number 31, 7th alongside Ryan Bean. 8th place is the Bean Machine. Zach Schrindenall is 9th, and John Steele wraps up the top 10 with Ryan Potter 11th and Nicholas Ward 12th. The number 97 in Ward has himself the final spot in the top dozen. 13th place is Alex Kim, your Daytona winner. He started the season with a victory, and he's alongside Josh Gallagher. He'll start in 14th. 15th place, Cody Smith, great driver at the SuperSpeedways, won at Daytona in 2023. Matthew Cornell is 16th, Kevin Matz is 17th, and John DeBarro, now fresh off a solid run for the 61 crew. One last chance to go second in regular season points. He starts today in 18th. 19th place is Sam Nieto. James Thurston is fresh off another win, back-to-back wins. He'll start in 20th with 21st Eli Cars, 22nd Sean Kalis, the last driver to take a time, and it will be Jacob Fife and Don Stevenson, 23rd and 24th respectively. 25th place on the lineup is Trevor Trago. Blake Cannon continuing his comeback in the midseason. He'll be then 26th with 27th DJ Stagner, 28th Aaron Eads, 29th Nick Tarbuck, and Brad Patton. He'll be 30th as it stands. The final drivers for the night's race: Nolan Potter, 34 machine, P31. Randy Fiash, 32nd in the 55. And last of all will be Kent Wetterall on the number 70. He is 33rd on this starting lineup, and he's ready to get rolling alongside the best in the business. For the first time this season, David Davis starts first, and that is your starting lineup from the Alabama International Motor Speedway. 2.66 mile circuit from Talladega. We are in for a thriller. Of course, we talk about the points race. John DeBarro is one of the few drivers who still has to deal with his points race, which is, of course, a means of getting up to second in the championship. Today, DeBarro finds himself already up into P3, and he has had a considerably good season compared to most drivers' standards. The question now becomes, what can you do to elevate that, as he sits alongside Eric McFarland here, if he can elevate it any further. 27 seconds remain, and very few drivers decided to go for an additional lap. Josh Gallagher in the University of Notre Dame Ford Mustang, he stays inside, as does DeBarro. Nolan Potter, more of the same. Right now, it is a very calm scene in Talladega. Just a few minutes' time, it'll slip away, and it'll be the madhouse at the fastest racing circuit in the Americas. Practice is over, qualifying has concluded, and the field will be led by David Davis when we say hello to the green flag in just a few minutes' time. "94 racing laps lie ahead of the field today. 250 miles it comes out to, which, if you've been a fan of the Integrity Racing League for a long while, you may know this is a distance this field is unfamiliar with in the Tuesday night tour. But in the Monday nights, they have done it before. The 100-lap race classic from the Integrity Racing League's Ignite Tour in 2023 went flag to flag. That was won by Thomas Bresci, a completely cautionless race, and a standout performance for Bresci, who swept Talladega in that season. Now, Talladega has gone to a lot of drivers in the Octane Series Tour, and as you know so far this season, if you've watched, the SuperSpeedways have not been swept by the Blue Bloods. It was Alex Kim in the number 73 who won at Daytona, and it was Tom Wetmore who won at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta after a 15-plus driver wreck, which was in the mid to late stages of that race. So it was on the last lap anyway. James Thurston ended up finishing in second. Keep in mind, one notable absence from today's race, one of the most important drivers on the season anyway, but he had nothing to race for today, Ethan Lane. Lane will not be in the field tonight. He is opting to take the week off and return with the playoffs in mind, so this will be his first missed start since the beginning of the season. He's been very consistent and has had a great attendance, but it won't be perfect as he decides to step out of the race car this week, and that gives James Thurston the opportunity again to go quote-unquote uncontested for win 9. But it's anyone's race in Alabama. And the front row we have today with David Davis, a driver who is getting his first pole position, and Eric McFarland, who sat on the pole at Daytona this year, now both together. Pit strategy could be as simple as a one-stop race, dependent, of course, on whether or not the field can stay out there under green with minimal complication. That is a highly circumstantial thing to discuss because, first and foremost, it's pretty rare at Talladega, and it requires a hell of a lot of patience out of a very large quantity of drivers. We've got a Talladega sometimes in the season with only 15 drivers remaining. Tonight, one of our biggest crowds and the biggest on a Tuesday night, a 33-driver field set to win. When the going gets rough, they step up to the challenge. The Integrity Racing League, knowing what it's all about, have only one more race until their playoffs, and for Eric McFarland, it's do or die. He sits on the outside front row, 16th in the championship. David Davis, 14th, is looking to lock himself in, and the field behind him, they're looking to take their spots. From Lincoln, Alabama, the green flag will roll from the fastest superspeedway in America. Final regular season race of 2026. We are green from Talladega. Out of our opening lap, David Davis will lead the way, and he'll do so with minimal opposition. He rides at the head of the field with Bobby Keith trailing, Brock Potter right behind him. It's going to be a solid single file line out of the opening corners, and it looks like that's going to be the trend to start this one off. Not too much tight competition. Everyone going to lie back and decide to be a little bit more patient as we head toward the opening moments. And of course, long way to go tonight. No stage breaks, no stage cautions, which means that every lap counts that much more just to stay in the groove. James Thurston is one of the first to go 3 wide. He'll take it up to the ceiling of the racetrack. He is all the way up top, and he has decided to slot back in, leaving John DeBarro alone for the time being. David Davis holds fourth, 3 laps in now. Lap number 3 having just begun. Eric McFarland has fallen back quite a bit compared to where we saw him to start, though. McFarland no longer up with those top drivers, at least not the top 5. He runs 6th place right now with Swamp Motorsports behind him in the form of Ryan Potter. Unfortunately, this year, neither Ryan Potter nor DJ Stagner will be able to make the playoffs, as Stagner does not make the minimum participation requirement. Ryan Potter, unless he finds a way to win tonight, which is still possible, it's very unlikely he finds a way into the playoffs, although he is right under the cut line by all means. He runs 23rd in the championship, so it's not impossible to say he can go the distance, but it is going to be difficult to say the least. Davis holds his line. He is up front and content with it. As Eric McFarland moves to the high side, he will now be the driver in control on the outer groove. Joe Yakes, who was 18th in points, he's now behind McFarland. Again, remember that Eric is 2 spots above Joe Yakes, and he is tied for only 1 point ahead of him. So basically, it's a position-to-position race between those drivers. You've also got, of course, Brad Patton to keep in mind, and Patton started at the back of the field. So while Brad is not at all in the race just yet, it doesn't mean he won't be. And in fact, more incentive to believe that he's going to get into this showdown later on and just try to save his equipment for the time being. As you'll see, that Goodwrench-inspired Chevrolet now runs at the back of the pack alone without anyone really to work with. Thank you to all those that have popped into the chat room so far. John Snell, Alyssa Corral, Kart 5 driver, and Sniper Monkey BT6. Tonight, looks like a lot of fans going for McFarland in what is his biggest race of the season. And with his qualifying effort and early race performance, he has not disappointed. Roadhouse Racing has gotten away with 1 victory so far this season. Tom Wetmore took that win. And so instead, it will be in the hands of McFarland tonight to bring the team to 2 consecutive superspeedway wins, a feat they have not accomplished so far as a team. The last time any team was able to sweep any race season at Talladega, the Integrity Racing League, Thomas Bresci, he was able to do it for JTM Motorsport. Those drivers, they were remarkable. I mean, not only the fact that the JTM guys were Justin, Thomas, and, of course, Matthew, who were able to win road races, super speedways, and sweep basically both categories that season, but they were able to do so with ease. The only thing is they didn't win a championship. Alec Daffin stole with the great playoff run he had, the championship in the B season. DJ Stagner winning the inaugural. Ethan Lane in the chat room tonight. So for the first time all season long, he's taking the role of the spectator. He gets to watch from the outside. Lane has gotten 10 victories so far this season in the regular season. That is the leading category, of course, for all drivers. 10 wins, and now 3 consecutive years of winning at least 10 races on Tuesday nights, which is a record in itself. And add to the fact that there could, of course, be more wins in the future. Ethan Lane is smashing records, and it's really him against himself in that regard. Keeping a watch on iRacing servers there, as it looks like iRacing a little bit bogged down on the connection side. So hopefully that doesn't end up being a big deal, but you might see some of those drivers going in and out. That is server-sided, and it's been happening a little bit as of late. We've seen that with iRacing, but we got a clear connection live on FTN. We'll keep you posted if there is anything to occur. We've seen recently drivers in the Integrity Racing League given network connection penalties. Very few, however, have ended up out of the race on that pretense. It has happened. It's happened with the Roadhouse Racing guys, but it has been a sparse occurrence, so those guys should be able to continue on pretty well. Eric McFarland now leads 3 wide and high. You'll see him at the ceiling of the circuit once again. James Thurston now leads the second groove. One thing is for certain, the middle lane not really doing much. I mean, outside is waiting and waiting for a shot. The middle lane isn't doing too much to begin with, but the inside is king. If anywhere is king right now, the inside is king. There, Brad Patton will be put 1 lap down, which is detrimental for him. Remember, Patton has a lot to race for tonight. Coming into this race, just 1 point under the cut line. Brad, he runs now 32nd and last of all drivers and is one of the few who is outside of the main pack. It's been a tumultuous season for Brad Patton, filled with incidents that haven't been of his own doing or complications that, say for instance, you would never expect. There he is alongside DJ Stagner. He gets back in line, and if there's any hope, he'll be the lucky dog driver if he gets back in there. Zach Schrintenel taking the lead off the back of James Thurston's hard push up to the front. John DeBarro, Thurston, now together and up in front. Thurston, just about a lap and a half ago, was running in the 12th position. He's got in the middle groove up to relevancy, and the 3's up to the lead. James Thurston, for the third consecutive week, leading up in front. He's back and looking for a hat trick to end the regular season. James has won 2 of the last 4 races. He was able to take Iowa and New Hampshire. Ethan Lane took Richmond and Indianapolis. So the end of the summer stretch has been a split between those guys. And again, while Thurston was not here at Daytona, the only other super speedway style race we had in Echo Park, Atlanta, Thurston was a runner-up. Granted, what a runner-up he was in perhaps one of the most shocking performances of his career. With a poor one, he was in about, I would say he was about 7th position in the final lap, and then there was a wreck, and a cataclysmic wreck at that, and Thurston was the only driver besides Tom Wetmore to make his way up into the mix and end up a podium sitter. Joe Yates, who was 18th in the championship, now outruns the 33 of Eric McFarland. McFarland has fallen back, and considerably so. Eric now running in the mid-teens in that 33. A lot of time. He has no damage. There's little reason to be concerned about him. But remember, laps and track position will get increasingly more important, and guys will be increasingly more divided. The 33 team now runs in 18th place as he holds forward 3 wide and split with the 18 and the 44 side by side. It is a 3-wide run to the start-finish. Blake Cannon will opt to back off as David Davis continues to chase after James Thurston. It is Thurston, your leader, and Joe Yates in second. For a lot of these drivers, this is their biggest race of the season by a lion's share. There's really no other way to put it. For Yates, for McFarland, to a lesser extent for Brad Patton, who's had some big races so far and just hasn't been able to capitalize off it. But for those drivers, this might be the biggest race of their integrity careers. And it all comes to a head at a track where anyone could end up a winner. Up high is Eli Cars. Cars might contest Brad Patton for the lucky dog placement. '82 machine is stuffed up top, and it's going to be only 2 other drivers there to catch him and help him. Josh Gallagher and Brad Patton, they're upstairs. Otherwise, it's a 2-wide race. Ryan Bean surfing in the second lane. He's got Sean Kalis behind him, and so far those 2 drivers have done a pretty good job keeping each other in check and trying to get back up to Thurston. At the stripe once again. David Davis getting caught up to by Eric McFarland. Eric has to stay in the top 10 for one additional reason. If he's not going to stay up there for the entire night, it would be good for him to get to the halfway point and get some stage points, especially with the level of competition and the guys he's around. While Brad Patton might be out of the conversation, at least tentatively, he also has to keep in mind Brock Potter is 16 points above him. Maybe he can outscore him. He's got to stay ahead of guys like Kevin Matz and Joe Yates. Bobby Keith is 15 points back. Don't count him out either. He has run as high as second place tonight. It isn't impossible for him to make a change and get up there. Keith in the 14, 2 wide. Meanwhile, there is a 3 wide race right around him, and it's getting bundled up again. Nicholas Ward all the way on the high side. Ward has had a string of rough races which have not helped out this 97 team in the least. And yet it appears now he'll find himself tied right up. Alex Kim decides to go to the inside. And you'll see right there, Eric McFarland trying to push Ward but getting nothing out of it, and he's going to fall back. Really all of nothing on that top. Difficult place to be in the high side, and we've known that over the course of the season. But so far, so good for the guys on the inner groove and the middle lane. It has not been problematic for them at all. Particularly, of course, James Thurston, who has gotten rather comfortable leading the way. Zach Schrintenall continues to push him in second position. And it, of course, is going to be John DeBarro right behind. DeBarro and Nick Tarbuck separate coming in today by a total of 24 points. DeBarro's final chance to make up some points and steal that second seed. It's here, and it's now. Tarbuck is on the racetrack, and right now he runs in the mid-teens, not doing anything astronomical with the car so far, but he's still there. And he's close enough where he's not going to lose a position. DeBarro will need a standout night if he wants to take second. Jacob Fife and Sam Nieto are tied in points in 5th place. Nieto so far has been able to outrun him for the most part, but neither driver has really stepped their foot into the rat race of the lead pack. Sam right now runs in 24th place. Well, he's gotten himself a little bit further up from that in the last scoring loop. You see him there weaseling his way into the top 10 conversation. All the while, Jacob Fife, he still finds himself a little bit further back. Jacob runs single file all the way at the tail end. Nieto has the opportunity to take a spot from him. It's critical because Ryan Bean just took a position in points from Fife, and he got himself up into 4th in the championship. That is the highest that Ryan Bean has run all season long. He is now just outside of the podium by 30 points, and Fife is the man who had to fall for it. Ryan Bean has Sean Kalis behind, still giving a good push. David Davis, you watch him there on the inside, not a change. Brad Patton, what it's worth, he's a lapper, and he has not had any complication in terms of staying with the leaders. Very interesting. And Patton, in fact, has actually made a little bit more ground back and might be able to get back up into the last lap situation. Of course, if he can get on that lead lap, he's going to need a lot of help, but Ryan Bean just might be the man to work with. Thurston is still getting pushed out well. Sean Kalis now middle 3. Eli Carr is another lapper's middle 3. It is still a fight among those on the one lap down train. Just the two of them anyway. They're going at it for the lucky dog. David Davis keeps it close. Little complication between these guys. It's been a very calm and collected race still. Take a ride on board, in fact, with one driver who's got a great perspective, and that's going to be the guy who's sitting back. That is Blake Cannon. Take a ride on board, 3 wide middle. Driver the 44, and he is pacing himself right now, watching it all happen ahead of him. 3 wide middle, he doesn't want to commit to the bit. But he'll decide to go here now. He's got a great draft that's going to pull him up. Down to the inside. Now, being on the inside is a great spot, especially if you want to save yourself, get out of any big complications later in the race. There's an incident, you can duck low. Something that very few drivers have the opportunity to do is get that clear escape route. And Blake Cannon now has it. Back to the front of the field. 3-wide split for Tarbuck there, you see it. Zach Schrintenel has kept himself close to the front, but no longer is he the man pushing Thurston. Instead, it'll be Trevor Trago. Interesting enough that it is Trevor Trago who's gotten that shot, but Sam Nieto gets a shot from Eli Cars. It's going to be a big move now for Sam Nieto. Man, oh man, what a run for the number 2. He'll get himself all the way out in front of those contact in trouble, and a big wreck. Cannon, Yates, Patton, and the caution is out. Take a look at this. Yellow flag, and the madness begins with some of our playoff contenders. Taking a look from up high, began with Brad Patton getting collected with Nolan Potter, and Joe Yates got contact, as did Nick Tarbuck. Patton spins around, goes up the track into Bobby Keith, nearly gets into Alex Kim. Yates goes around. Robert Richardson goes around as well. Caution. One more replay, taking a look at back end of that wreck, which included Robert Richardson getting some later damage. Watch this. Door bang. Matthew Cornell. A little bit of contact makes the difference. As the yellow flag flies, with Brad Patton involved. Pit road is busy. Everyone's coming in. It's about that time to see who can make it out first. Thurston is on the way. He'll be following Josh Gallagher. It's going to be Eric McFarland. McFarland gets the jump in the number 33 and uses that pole position stall to perfection. But he won't be alone up there because Sam Nieto is going to get by. So it looks like Jacob Fife goes down to pit road here. Sam Nieto will be the winner off pit road, followed by Eric McFarland, Josh Gallagher, James Thurston, Aaron Eads, Nicholas Ward, Ryan Bean, Zach Schrintenel, John Kalist, and Ryan Potter. Eric McFarland with the big escape, as the fans note in the chat room. The 33 team is alive and well, and now they run back in the podium places. Turning to the green flag at lap number 26. It'll be Nieto who takes the green flag after surging all the way to the front of the pack, down the front straightaway. Garland, for the second time today, will be starting in P2. Previously, of course, saw him there just at the start. Garland with a lot to ride on tonight, staying as that bubble driver. Now he's made it out of a big early wreck. All these drivers who made it out have a significant advantage on those who didn't, of course. Damage they needed to service, so they can stay as competitive as ever. as already about a quarter of this race has been close to wiped out. James Thurston, who has led the most laps of any driver tonight, slots outside of the second row in fourth. Nicholas Ward is alongside Aaron Eads. You'll see here a lot of drivers who are getting themselves built up, moving up the ladder thanks to that wreck. John Kalist has had a great race so far. He is still in the top 10. And the lead lap a little less than it was start of this race, but the heavy hitters by and large have survived. Brad Patton, though, with very bad news for that 9 team getting involved in the first incident and checking on the 9 crew. See what's going on right now. He got involved, and of course Eli Carr's right in that mix, but Brad will survive to keep on racing with some marginal backside damage, as it appears he's with the field and is still in good enough shape to keep on competing. Going green this time by at lap number 26. It's back to business. Brad Patton still 1 lap down. Rest of the field has made it through. For Brad, it's a yellow flag he desperately needed but couldn't benefit from, as he was tagged by Ryan Potter, also involved, of course. We saw it there beforehand. Notable hits for drivers like Robert Richardson. Nevertheless, this time by, Eric McFarland was shooting from a late jump to get to Sam Nieto. The green flag's out. Driver number 2's in control. We're back underway. Nieto gets the better start, but James Thurston decides to play it back, and both he and McFarland now get a great run down the back straightaway. Enough if McFarland would like, he can decide to go down to the inside, but he is choosing not to. So he will keep himself there until the middle of the back straight, run into 3 and 4. Now he takes it to the bottom. James Thurston is going to lead the outside, and he'll swap right over, and he'll take the lead and get it there over McFarland. .26 laps in 94. Eric running down that back straightaway. Has a great run on James, but I don't think he's going to do anything with it right now. In fact, I don't think it makes any sense for him to do so. He can stay porched up back there and get these 2 drivers to race way out of sight. And if he does that, he'll be just fine with regards to, of course, keeping that track position, maintaining where he wants to be, and keeping himself ahead of all those big competitors we've mentioned. Again, it's not just Brad Patton, but it's also Joe Yakes he has to keep in mind. And while Patton has had a disastrous start to the day, someone who hasn't is Joe Yakes. Yakes has been a little bit up and down, running as high as the top 5 earlier. Right now, Joe runs outside of the top 10. He is closer right now to the 20th place battle, as he last scored in 24th place, and it appears that he is at the tail end of the trail rather than being anywhere toward its head. So currently, Eric McFarland has the advantage over him. Joe Yakes has the edge over Brad Patton if anything is to happen. Right now, both of those drivers are still off the cut line, and it appears that the advantage is still very clearly with the 33. McFarland is running the race of his season, and he's made a commitment to it, and he has not yet backed down, not one bit. You know, the stakes are that much higher when you're a driver like McFarland here. Some drivers, Sam Nieto, Nicholas Ward, James Thurston, either they have no stakes to really race on tonight. They're racing for something completely different. That's in the case of James Thurston, or they know this race doesn't mean that much and they're already in the playoffs, so why bother worrying, right? But for everyone, well, it's not exactly the case. Some drivers really do need this race to go exactly as they want to plan it out. Some drivers are going to need maybe something even better. A lot of guys, to even have a shot at making the playoffs tonight that we haven't talked about at all, they would need a race win first and foremost, and that's what would get them into consideration. But there's a group of drivers, the 13 or so, that are locked in right now, and of course, they're good. Everyone else, not quite. McFarland in particular is in a very bad position because he will be the first driver knocked out if he doesn't make the most of it. Now he's got John DeBarro on his backside. DeBarro doesn't need a win, but he still hasn't been able to come away with one. He was closest to a victory this summer at Richmond, leading with about 40 laps to go. Pit road strategy flipped on him, and it went from almost a surefire victory to, unfortunately, ending up as a sub-20th place finish in the most unexpected of fashion. Now, McFarland has that man right behind him, and you got to wonder, how hungry is John DeBarro for a win? The answer is unknown to anyone but himself, and that's what makes it hard to gauge right now, especially if you're a competitor. Those two are not teammates, and tonight, McFarland is rather sparse for teammates. He doesn't have a lot of guys he can roll off of. He does have Blake Cannon, but Cannon isn't yet close. And Tom Wetmore, one of the better drivers at these super speedways as well, is not on the racetrack. Cannon, of course, is a great source to get a lot better from. He's one of the fastest drivers in this league when he races, and it's good to have him back. So far, he can't really do much other than watch what's going on ahead, and for all intents and purposes, McFarland is currently out there alone competing against the best of them. DeBarro tries to go high. I don't think that's going to work out, and he nearly gets shot middle. Nolan Potter decides to go high by choice. Doesn't look like it's going to get him anywhere. He gets back in line. Cody Smith falls back tremendously. I think Cody was trying something there. Doesn't seem like it played out all too well. He's with Alex Kim and alone on the high side. Those two are going to rip the top and take it down the back straightaway at warp speed almost. They are basically the fastest drivers on the racetrack here if they choose to be, but it looks like they'll back off again, and the outside and behind is the way they slow down. Joey Yates up top. 3 wide is very, very uncommon and infrequent at the late end of this circuit. Ryan Potter has decided to do it again. I don't know how much it's going to get out of him. Meanwhile, the other Potters are running, well, at least in part, up front. And in fact, the Potters are side by side. A family affair between the number 34 and 14. Ryan, unrelated, not too far back. You have 3 Potters in the top 10 race, and all of which are going to go almost 3 wide here. Stage break, for those asking in the chat room, there is no stage break. However, there will be stage points awarded at the halfway marker, as it is for every race. So, 94 laps of racing, looking at about lap 47, lap 48 for the 50-50 point tonight. That's the point in which stage points would be awarded. There is no interruption, there is no break when it comes to when the stages are. So it's the 50-50 point, points are awarded, and then you might see a green flag pit stop cycle, depending on how long these drivers run under green for 1 and for 2nd, depending on whether or not they'd like to come in a little bit early. A lot of drivers choosing to go in recently. Recent enough, they could run it for some 40 laps with little issue. Toe-to-toe still. Now no longer with James Thurston, who was falling back into 8th. And instead, with Nolan Potter and Sam Nieto. Nieto made a lot out of that final run to the first caution today. He was able to bullet all the way up to first place right at the time the scoring loops determined he was the leader. Basically perfect timing, as it granted him the opportunity to lead right before the caution flew. And with that, there's a little bit more time for these drivers to work with. Again, you'll see there on the left side of your screen, lap 23, everyone went in. And interestingly enough, all lap 23, Randy Fiash, the only exception, and lap 24 is where he went in. What it means is that these drivers could go up until about lap 63 comfortably. So, that's where these guys stand. Less than 60 to go now at Talladega. Might sound like a lot of time. 60 laps, a large 2.66 mile racetrack. But with the speeds these drivers are carrying through each and every cycle, it could be a moment's notice. On Saturday night, we saw the Pepsi 400 brought to you by iRacing in the NSR Gen 4 series, and it ended up becoming about 7 drivers looking for the race victory. It basically came down to a small group until an overtime caution, which brought every driver in the field, and it was a wreck that caught all but one, literally all but one of the drivers on the circuit. Sam Nieto keeps himself there. Nicholas Ward now up to second. Ward in the 97 having his most consistent points season of his career. Hasn't been able to get back to victory lane, although he was able to get away with 2 last year. Instead, it's been a more pace-based approach to get him to this point. So far, it's been pretty fantastic. Over the course of the season, few drivers have been as good as the 97 of Ward. The Fighting Irish Sam Nieto machine needs a little bit more support, and as it stands, I think that Ford Mustang needs a race like this. He is locked into the championship hunt again, so it's not going to be a difficult matter for him to, say for instance, go to the first round of the playoffs. But from here on out, consistency is something to be desired. It's been a little bit more of a tumultuous run for him. A lot of very good results, some podium finishes, but other races where he ends up on the wrecker before the job is done. That's not the type of thing you want to deal with as a driver, knowing your championship run relies on consistency. That is where James Thurston and Ethan Lane had the field beat, as oftentimes they have just gone first and second, back and forth against each other again and again. That's the sort of performance that will change a driver's season. And it's not just one race that does it, it's a string of them. John Navarro side by side with Thurston here. Nick Tarbuck has really not quite gotten into the races today. I mean, he's been in the mix, he's been in the pack, but we haven't talked about him as a front runner. Oftentimes, though, when he does this, it means that he's waiting with some tricks up his sleeve. Tarbuck, as we take a look back, he finds himself right now running in the 22nd position, very far out from where he would generally be. So far this season, he has been the second best driver in terms of points. He has been remarkably consistent. He has been second, of course, only to Ethan Lane in points. And over the course of the last few months, he has been outright outrunning the driver in the number 61 in John Navarro. So his championship contention has been about as good as it gets for any one driver. 40 out of 94. Field keeps rolling. David Davis, your pole sitter, started out up at the head of the field, and he has decided to pull it in the midfield. There's Davis in the number 13 right now. He rides in 29th place, well, according to Timing Loop, but he's gotten himself up a fair distance since then. Davison, the 13, rides behind Josh Gallagher. He's ahead of the 5 and Robert Richardson. Well, he started on the pole and certainly will need a win if he wants any playoff consideration tonight. Going to take a lot more aggression than what we've seen so far. Jay McClintock shouting out the drivers and the great racing we've seen so far. Jay McClintock, one of the many FTN Broadcasting channel members, and we'd like to thank him and all those subscribed as not only a regular subscriber, but as an FTN member for their continued support to the channel. FTN memberships are as little as $2.99 a month, and that gives you, of course, not only an opportunity to directly support us, but it gives you priority chat room access. We love shouting out our great members and all their continued support. And every dollar that goes to FTN Broadcasting goes right back to the network to keep up with up-to-date internet, up-to-date computer facilities from the team here. And it's been a great time for us at FTN Broadcasting. We've moved our studios upstate for the time being. As we continue coverage for the rest of the Integrity Racing League, we'll be doing so from Vestal, New York, as the Long Island studios will be the backup for the rest of the season. A little bit of a different look. We do have some drivers from this series hailing from upstate New York as well. One of them I can think of off the top of my head is not racing today. I do know a lot of New Yorkers in one of our returning series on this Thursday night. The Iora Cup Series turns. Stay tuned for more info as the night goes on. Vladimir Invoke 3389 talking about two of the drivers to watch out for, the Roadhouse boys. Contact! Blake Cannon is destroyed all the way around and spun. Heel wreck. Nieto, DeBarro, Yates, Ryan Potter, Shrintanol. Caution. Big caution. The field slows as at lap number 43, it's our second wreck of the day. Watch what happened. Already the smoke was blaring by that point. But Cannon in the 44, who was lined up with his Roadhouse Racing teammate at the time of incident, ends up slammed. Here's a look. Oh, Cannon into Kevin Matz there. John Zabarro. Brock Potter involved. Bobby Keith and Joe Yakes. Saw him there. Eli Cars in the 82 gets hit. Think that's going to give Brad Patton a chance to get back on the lead lap. Kent Weatherell involved. Now, you could say good news for Eric McFarland, who has been one of the big stories of the race, the man on the bubble that he got through. Good for Brad Patton, as he's going to save himself, keep things moving. He'll get back on the lead lap with this one. But for the 44, Blake Cannon, he's going to have to watch his teammate McFarland go at it alone. Here's a replay once again as we'll be coming back to green with less than 50 laps remaining. And it's the 33 crew. Both one of the biggest beneficiaries and one of the biggest losers of this one. See the incident? One more time, we will play it on board from the look inside McFarland's cockpit. Now for McFarland, yeah, he got away from that one. But the thing about it is, his teammate wrecked hard. So with Blake damaged like that, and there's his other teammate, Nicholas Ward, that sort of damage is going to be a huge complication as drivers are now coming down for some regular service, some for damage repair. There is Sam Nieto. Eli Cars is on the way. John Zabarro finds himself on pit road right now. And coming off of pit road, leader, well, there's Brad Patton, as he will be getting his lap back. But it will be Aaron Eads who takes control. For the first time tonight, Aaron Eads will lead the way. Brad Patton getting his lap back. So for the first time since the single-digit laps, driver number 9 will get an opportunity. Get up in front. Now for him, the one driver he has been competing against the hardest has been perhaps the driver putting on the best circuit performance we've seen out of him all season long in McFarland. Eric, however, does drop a little bit further back on this pit stop cycle as he will fall just outside of the top 10. A drop back slightly. The number 33 team. And the fandom for Eric McFarland is off the charts tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. And I know that 33 team greatly appreciated because, of course, this race is do or die for that crew. So for all of you there, Alyssa Corral, J Snell 1322, now a channel member. Greatly appreciate your support in joining the FTN membership program. Vladimir Invoke 3389, Caddy Lady, Papa Smark, and all those who are with us, of course, are members, Jay McClintock and J Snell 1322. There was a lot of support for this one driver. And of course, it's a do or die moment for a team that needs to win or perform well to firmly lock in and beat Joe Yakes and Brad Patton. It is a 1-point difference between he, the 87, and the 9. For all intents and purposes, that is a 3-way tie for the final playoff position. You'll see it on your screen right now. 1 point is the differentiator. Eric McFarland is on the bubble. Patton, Yakes are immediately behind it. For them, it's between victory or defeat against Eric McFarland. And then for the drivers behind, it basically is you win or you go home empty-handed. Halfway lap will be 1 lap away now. We'll restart at 47. The second half of the race begins at 48. It's a Talladega night. That's the way it's been so far, and that's the way it'll be for the next 47-plus laps. To the green flag this time by Aaron Eads, for the first time, will be the driver in control as he leads the way. Green flag's out, outside with an amazing start. Jacob Fife cannot hold a candle. This is for all the bonus points available. Bobby Keith watching. Eads drops to the inside. James Thurston now in control. He's looking for some spots as he goes to the outside on Nick Tarbuck. Tarbuck in the high spot. He's been in all night long, looking for some extra points himself. Eric McFarland in a difficult spot to get up for stage points as he is now blocked big by many a driver. You've got Ryan Bean. Bean, one of the quieter guys. He's on pit road here. He'll be lapped this time through as Sam Nieto comes by 3 wide with Richardson and Patton at the line. Thurston leads at the half. James Thurston being pushed by pole sitter David Davis. first and second across the stripe to bring on the next set of laps. Three wide, many deep. And you'll see now, it's getting contentious immediately after the restart. While double file is very common, three wide flickers in and out, on and off from this back half of the pack. Three wide, three rows deep. James Thurston has led the most laps so far today, and it looks like he is still in a pretty fair spot with regards to going and getting that bonus point. Eli Carr is three wide. Brad Patton is on the lead lap for the first time tonight. Been a very difficult night for him as he's finally gotten up there. Kent Weatherall, Blake Cannon off the lead lap after considerable damage. But now it's a new set of drivers that get that opportunity up in front. And you'll see again a little bit of bundling up. Jacob Fife trying to get some spots back in the points picture, trying to outpace Ryan Bean, and trying to make sure Sam Nieto doesn't pass him on the final night of the regular season. That's the fifth place championship fight, as those two drivers are going for some regular season points and a seed in the playoffs ahead of one another. Right now, Jacob is ahead again, and it looks like it could be just enough for him to hang on, so long as Nieto doesn't get back up there. Ryan Potter with teammate DJ Stagner. Finally, the swamp crew has gotten together. DJ goes high, while James Thurston now leads a convincing run on the inside line. Stagner has gotten right there with his teammate and Potter, and they're both in the top 10. Four wide, Alex Kim, Nick Tarbuck, DJ Stagner, and Eric McFarland. That is as tight as it gets. Kim, the Daytona winner, put into a nasty spot. He was four wide and stuck in the middle of it. Now he's three again with John DeBarro. That could have been a whole lot worse. Field gets away with it. Eli Carr's just wobbling on the outside. It looks like he's going to slot back in line to the second groove. Alex Kim hasn't shown any particular signs of having the stuff he had at Daytona earlier in the year in February. Now, the reason I say that is just because Kim was able to lead a whole lot of laps in the early part of the year at Daytona. He wasn't one of those drivers who came out of nowhere. He was competitive from jump to end, and it's been a little bit more difficult for him to stick himself into that situation, something that, of course, we have seen from him before. But right now, it looks like he is stuck and waiting for a better shot to get in the mix. 43 laps to go, 3 cautions to this point. Double file again as Zach Shrintenall looks a little slow on the inside, but it's double wide and little has changed. 3 wide, Alex Kim goes. I don't know what 3 wide will get you in a situation like this. I mean, it could get you something. But it looks like if you go out there alone and you do so consistently anyway, it's just going to lose you spots. Up high, John DeBarro, Nolan Potter, and Nick Tarbuck, 3 wide, and 3 drivers are up on the top side. Wondering what's going to come of that. Looks like for now, not much. James Thurston and David Davis keep the lead, but hey, look at who's up there in third. He's had some trouble today, got involved in one of the earlier spins, but it is Matthew Cornell running at the head of the field and in the highest position he's been in all race long. And this might be the first time you've seen him run up here all season long. He came back to the circuit in late July, early August. And it looks like he has not skipped a beat. As confidently he runs in the podium places, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything that knocks him off. He stays right on the number 3 machine. Becca Rocks in the chat, thank you for joining FTN's membership. Greatly appreciated. Again, 3 members have come into the chat tonight. We've had Becca Rocks, Jay Snell 1322, and Jay McClintock. If you enjoy the coverage live on FTN Broadcasting, make sure to let us know. You don't have to become a member. You can just like and subscribe to the channel, but it means everything to have our members come through and help us out in bringing these broadcasts to you live on FTN. Thank you for your continued support as we keep rolling on here from the Alabama International Motor Speedway. 41 laps to go. If you just got here, grab your popcorn, take a seat. You haven't seen anything yet. Eric McFarland goes high. He's fast. He's looking to get in the top 5. And he is stationed on the outside watching Ryan Potter. How about Trevor Trago? Trago, who is locked in, has gone from a bunch of different roles to the one he has today in this season. He went from the second driver in the Wanted Goons crew in 2023 to an absent figure in 2024 and 2025. Now, instead, he finds himself as the leading driver of his team in points. And while he still has not been able to get up into a race victory, he has been running the best season of his career. For a few seasons, we didn't know whether or not he would come back. And yet it appears that he has finally gotten himself into the mix. And truly, he's made the most of it. Trevor Trago now runs in the 4th position. Eric McFarland being supported by Jacob Fife. And he's got a good pusher in the form of Fife. Fife is one of the steadiest hands in all of this series. With 15 seasons of integrity experience, Jacob has been at it for the longest time. And he right now has McFarland in the palm of his hand, trying to get that driver to do one thing, go fast. But Jacob Fife pulls to the outside and now finds himself alone. I don't think that was best timed for the number 36 team. Look, he'll fall back very quick. McFarland now leads the outside with a new helper in Sam Nieto. Nieto has previously led this race, so another good driver to trust in a situation like this. James Thurston is several car lengths out. Farland now trying to get up there to take the lead, something that he has not done tonight. Same for David Davis. Davis has been able to, of course, stay up there, but he hasn't reclaimed the lead. Your old front row is now 2nd and 3rd as Eric McFarland gets a shot on the outside. Sam Nieto, Nicholas Ward trying to push. Remember, Ward is McFarland's teammate. There's reason they're going to stay together. They're side by side to 1 and 2. Driver number 33. Looking for his first career win and the biggest win of his sim racing career. It could be to stay in the playoff picture. James Thurston is looking for his 9th this season to level the board against Ethan Lane and get it as close as it's been all season long. Toe-to-toe, McFarland is fast, but Sam Nieto has not yet pulled himself up there. David Davis is pushing Thurston through the corner. I don't know how good that's going to be for Davis's engine because he is right under the 3. Just was not enough there. McFarland is going to fall back. I don't think he's got the help he needs. to maintain that run. James Thurston is going to keep the lead for the time being. The outside just can't hold the candle. Thurston hangs on. The field slightly thins out behind him. The Potters still pretty split. Nolan Potter finds himself in the top 10. Brock Potter is in the top 15. You've got Ryan Potter, who's around 20th, give or take. So a few difficulties in terms of where the Potters are. They were pretty close to each other. No longer are they. It's a very, very big difference. "35 laps remaining this time by. The home stretch rapidly approaching. Let's talk about when these drivers went to pit road. It changed from the last time we went to look at that. Remember, they first went in at lap 23. We have had 2 pit stop cycles. In the next, give or take 10 to 15 laps, drivers will have the option to go down to pit road if it's necessary and if they see fit. One more pit stop is necessary to get to the end of this race. Lap 44, so we're at lap number 61. They could go at least 15 laps more, and at most, they could go until 10 laps to go. But that is a very dangerous game to play because you go in so late, you might actually end up losing position you can't gain back. So expect to see some drivers making some different moves. Eric McFarland, your race leader. Sam Nieto with a shot on the outside, and the number 33 is up in front. Big, because Joe Yakes is still outside of the top 20. He's 1 lap down, and Brad Patton has not touched the top 10. At the line this time by Eric McFarland leads his first lap of the day. Perhaps one of the biggest moments of this race. McFarland gets it up there. Sam Nieto is still second, but teammate Nicholas Ward keeps the drivers at bay. And as they run, it's the 33 and the 97, both occupying podium places. Leaders have thinned out profusely as now Brad Patton comes to pit road, as does Bobby Keith, Trevor Trago, Jacob Fife, Cody Smith, Nick Tarbuck, Alex Kim. Big decision being made, an early pit stop cycle for many a driver to try to split it early with 32 laps to go. This is a risky call, a very interesting call, and we'll see if it plays out well. Ryan Bean also down here. This could be beneficial in a late stage, and the bet is that we're going to have a long green flag run. Nick Tarbuck also going in, while McFarland now leads all those out there. Eric McFarland is in control. Sam Nieto now sees 2 Roadhouse teammates behind him. John Steele is in the mix in 4th. Now, what an amazing night it would be for Roadhouse Racing to do it with John Steele, Nicholas Ward, and Eric McFarland. Unfortunately, Blake Cannon having a lot of trouble early, and Tom Wetmore out of this race. So it comes down to these 3, and while, of course, these are some of the best drivers at super speedways to execute when it counts, it's always difficult. And with the regular season and the playoffs on the line, it's that much bigger. McFarland knows it, and it looks like right now he's rather comfortable leading. It's a small group that's ahead. small enough that, well, a lot of these notable guys are here. You'll look around, you'll see Bobby Keith getting back on the way. Jacob Fife as well. Brad Patton getting rolling. There's Brad. He's with Alex Kim. The field has split up now tremendously. 14 drivers still out there. The rest of them have either just gone to pit road or they're back out again. There's DJ Stagner, one of the drivers who's already gone through. And it's a small, single-file bunch that has decided to stay out. They're banking on a long run and expecting that they can set the pace and get everyone off the lead lap so long as they stay together and run very fast laps until the end. That is a somewhat applicable strategy. It only takes a little bit of luck, which right now, to be in the lead, you've got to have that luck to begin with. And it takes a lot of patience. Let these laps whittle down without a lot of competition until you know you're safe to not have any more. Previously, the Lucky Dog fight was between Brad Patton and this man, Eli Cars, and while Brad got back on the lead lap, surprisingly, it has been Eli Cars who has been able to outperform him. Eli runs 14th and last of the main pack. A big enough differential between he and the rest of the field that a great performance is expected. What he can do, of course, is just stay back here and get himself to lie in this pack, and he really could do almost exactly what we saw out of the driver of number 51 in Atlanta. Bide time, make his way through into the checkered flag. One wreck could be all the difference. Eric McFarland continues to hang on. Sam Nieto, Nicholas Ward, John Steele, Josh Gallagher, James Thurston. The Super Six as they run. Little has changed among these men. The field stays remarkably consistent. "26 laps to go. Eric continues to lead them. And as they've been calling him in the chat room, Go Fast McFarland has found his calling at the fastest track on the schedule. Just a tick or two off 200 miles an hour all the way across from beginning to end. "25 laps to go this time by. Now, can you believe it? Such a story going on here. A lot of these drivers this season looking for their first win. Thurston, the juggernaut, the dominant man, who is looking for his 9th. Now, he's an exception to the rule, but majority of this bundle you're looking at is looking for their first career win. Many of them are looking for their first win of the season if they already at least have one win in their career. Every one of these drivers has made it now most of the distance. Lap 70, we finally made it. And next up, lap 71, still eyeing any signal that these leading guys will decide to go to pit road. A decision that has not yet been made by any one of them. 14 stay ahead in 15th. Randy Fiash has been blown by. DJ Stagner leads the second pack with Trevor Trago, Cody Smith, Nolan Potter, and Kevin Matz. Matz is also one of those drivers on the bubble, and they could get lapped. Watch this. Just a few seconds behind, the McFarland crew is coming. Your lead pack still has a pit stop to go with 23 laps remaining. And with that being said, we'd like to thank our friends at Whiplash SimCams for giving you all the angles of tonight's thrilling feature race. We're going to crank it up with our friends at Whiplash and give you a special preview, uninterrupted, of all the camera angles that they have to offer. No subscription needed. Visit Whiplash-Media to learn more about the best camera providers on the iRacing market. We'll go with 22 laps to go. This time by It's About Time We Go Racing once again from Talladega. And this time through, we'll do it uninterrupted, live and loud from Lincoln, Alabama. 22 to go. Let's crank it up. Brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Watching aboard now for the backside of the 33. This is a look off the tail end of Eric McFarland, your race leader. 19 laps to go as it stands, and he still controls a small bundle of this pack That, of course, has not moved an inch. These are the leading 14 drivers, and when they choose to go down to pit road, of course, it will be the big differentiator. They call the shots on what has become a largely green flag race for the Talladega Superspeedway. Welcome back to coverage on FTN Broadcasting. Nicholas Ward, teammate of McFarland, runs just a few spots away. The playoff race comes down to this, and now the leading pack is coming up on lappers, which is the biggest deal of all if these drivers want to maintain and, of course, hold it out for a long green flag win with dominance. Eric McFarland and Sam Nieto have proven quite the dynamic duo so far. Nieto, while he's no teammate of McFarland's and never really have they raced together, it appears that their relationship has proven pretty good for both of them. Pretty symbiotic, I would say. But it looks like right now a few will pull off and Nieto will dive the hardest. He'll shoot to the inside with aggression and get ahead of McFarland in the pit road. Eric gets in as well. And it's a side-by-side affair for the biggest pit road race of the day. The big pack, the 14 that lead, all come down to pit road. Thurston, Nieto, Steele, Gallagher, also making it into their stall. Matthew Cornell, John DeBarro, Nicholas Ward, Schrintenol, Potter, Ryan and Brock, Robert Richardson, David Davis, and Eric McFarland. No tires, just gas for Sam Nieto. What's the call for McFarland? Same, but he'll be beaten by 2. Gallagher and Nieto get out the fastest. Sam Nieto in particular is the winner off pit road. Additionally, James Thurston, while not faster out of the cone, out of the line at pit road exit, he will also beat out Eric McFarland. No tires, just gas. "16 laps to go. In the meanwhile, keep a watch on the drivers that were running in that second pack. Eli Cars, Randy Fiash, and yes, as it stands, Eli Cars is running right up there. He'll be passed by Brad Patton, Nick Tarbuck and company. And it looks like the 82 is going to slap back in line as DJ Stagner is still trying to keep control of this bundle. Big shift in the lineup right here as they come across the stripe. Start-finish line will show you that Sam Nieto is still scored as the leader as they've come together again, that pack. But DJ Stagner isn't considerably far behind compared to where he was. Distances have slowly but surely come together, but still might not be enough. With 16 to go, coming to 15 to go next. I don't know. Sam Nieto, Gallagher, Thurston, and Eric McFarland are all very far up relative to their competition. And they've got the distance. Still 13 up on DJ Stagner in 14th. They might be caught up to by Zach Schrintenol and company. Schrintenol's right now in 9th, 3 seconds back. Matthew Cornell, more the same. And, of course, Brock Potter. That bundle might catch up. But I think if you're Sam Nieto right here, you've got a lot fewer drivers to worry about. You're in the ballpark of dealing with 10 guys. I don't think 30 is going to be an opportunity or a problem, shall we say. You're going to be dealing with a quarter of that, if that, from here on out. We'll get back to business. How about Josh Gallagher? Gallagher is a driver we haven't really discussed tonight, and it appears he is finally in position to make something of this race. Championship-wise, he's not really in the consideration, as the yellow flag will fly. And we have trouble from the back of the field. Randy Fiash involved. This is going to get everyone together, and it's going to make for a hell of a final showing. We take a look back what just happened to the Fiash team. So, single file in the second pack is where it begins. It began ahead of him. Kevin Matz needs a good run tonight. Just got completely destroyed. So that could be farewell to his playoff chances. From Matz. Take a look high. You'll see he was out there just behind DJ Stagner, just ahead of Alex Kim. Brad Patt was pushing hard. Matt's loose, tagged by Kim, comes up the track, collects Randy Fiash. 2 cars destroyed. Matt's and Fiash. Everyone else gets away. I think Fiash gets the worst of it there. You see the suspension is completely jammed. For the 4th time tonight, the caution's out. For everyone else in that second pack, this caution is a miracle. Although I'm sure those leading guys not particularly happy. Now all of a sudden the chance of the win is open to almost everyone. What was a small bunch. Getting back to business. Sam Nieto, well, already locked in. Very ready for his first win of the season, if he can go out there and acquire it. The number 2 team, it hasn't been since 2023 that this team has found a victory. Of course, for Sam Nieto, it doesn't mean a lack of execution. He has been a top 10 driver season after season. But as it stands, it just looks like victories have ever so slightly fallen out of his grasp. Sam Nieto, of course, a driver we've seen with the podium placements multiple times this season, and Talladega will be a surprising place to break that winless streak. With the drivers he has around him, everything really is a surprise, and I would say, as the messages in the chat indicate, that lead pack did everything they needed. They kept and held a 14-second lead. Something that we have almost never seen here at Talladega was that break apart that you noticed and the way it was sustained. Sam Nieto did an amazing job at getting up there and pushing Eric McFarland. Of course, McFarland and, to another extent, Thurston, those guys, they did a great job as leaders of the line. But Sam Nieto put a lot of hard work into pushing himself up to the front of the field and then getting other drivers to keep going quicker and quicker. And they were able to keep 14 seconds of a lead. Usually at Talladega, you lose that over the course of your long run. But Nieto has in particular put up such a great effort as a pusher that he will sustain his track position, and there will be a lot of drivers excited to see what happens next when we get to business with the white flag eagerly approaching the field. One to green this time. Sam Nieto and Josh Gallagher, your leaders, as we say hello to the green flag once again. Zach Schrintenol is collecting himself and getting back up with the leaders here. He is rolling down the back straightaway. You see him right there. He'll make his way in for a 10-lap shootout with the opportunity, if absolutely necessary, we will go to a green-white checkered situation. Nieto up top, Josh Gallagher on the bottom. James Thurston and Eric McFarland, the 1, 2, 3, 4. John DeBarro has a little bit of front end damage, but it doesn't mean that he's anywhere near done. Green flag will fall for Nieto and Gallagher, but it could be anyone's race. Thurston, McFarland, Nieto, Davis have all led laps today, just to name a few. And the parity up in front has been sustained remarkably well. Green flag. McFarland into Nieto. He'll get a car length and then some on the outside line. A great jump for the top two drivers. 10 laps to go from Talladega. Back on the way, and it's all Sam Nieto's lead. That was a textbook drive out of the corner for those two drivers as we see a little bit of a scuffle in the back of the field. Everyone involved. Yellow flag. Caution is out again. We're pacing as we have trouble. Among those involved, Nick Tarbuck. Take a look at this. Robert Richardson also in there with less than 10 to go. Another caution flies. Here's a look at it as it happened. Three wide. Tarbuck up top. John Steele in the mix. And Richardson down and in. He goes up the track as well. John Steele collects Nick Tarbuck. Nolan Potter also involved. The yellow flag is out. Sean Kalis with a pretty good wreck avoidance. And we'll pull it back to his perspective as he again will avoid the chaos and the carnage. While the pace laps are going, here's a look from Sean Kalis. Contact. Tarbuck, Steele, Kalis gets through. Yellow flag with 9 laps to go. Don Kalis with a pretty good wreck avoidance. That's going to net him a few spots and get him up to the 16th place. Eric McFarland still second to Sam Nieto. He's the leading man with 9 laps to go. Make it 8 next time. So it's going to be a 7-lap shootout, if anything, when we get back to the green flag. Not a lot changed up in front. Number 2 shakes itself out just a little bit. That Ford Mustang is on rails tonight. Who perhaps is the most exciting driver of this race? Well, I think the fans would say Eric McFarland. But I gotta say, Matthew Cornell has been exceeding expectations all night long. And I think he's going to continue to do so until the very end. They're the type of drivers who McFarland and Cornell like, who need these big runs, keep seasons running. From Daytona onward, it's been difficult. We have a remarkably competitive field this year with Thurston and Lane in particular. But a track like this levels the playing field among drivers who are all very good at superspeedway racing. It's difficult to assess that as well, but make no mistake, the fact that the lead pack pulled 14 seconds together, that's a testament to their skill at this type of track. That does take skill. The super speedways are often lauded in the sim world for being effortless, really. That's not the case. On a night like this, you need to put a lot of effort to be good at what you're doing. Single file for what could be the last time. Any additional cautions will bring us into, you guessed it, green, white, checkered. We'll get at it this time by Sam Nieto. Takes it high. Eric McFarland opts low. That's a notable choice because it gives Josh Gallagher the opportunity to work with Nieto. On the last restart, the top two guys on the outside were the ones who got away and bolted out. Keep that in mind. It could be better for Gallagher because now he will follow on the outer lane, or on the inside, it could be Eric McFarland on the bottom. Six-lap shootout. Cautions will send it to overtime. iRacing official pace car has the lights off. The virtual fans in the stand all eagerly anticipate what is yet to come. Let's get this working. John Zabaro in the 61 has outrun Nick Tarbuck today. He is still 7 places ahead. If he wins tonight, he could end up second in the regular season championship. For the green flag, it's Nieto getting the launch on the outside. Eric McFarland versus Gallagher. It looks like it's going to be McFarland, but slightly. Sam decides to go down and in. He'll make his choice. 6 laps to go. It's toe-to-toe for P1. Rallying down the back straightaway 3 wide with Brad Patton for the first time tonight, showing any sign of life. Remember, if Patton outfinishes Eric McFarland in any capacity, he ends up taking that playoff spot, and McFarland will fall. Patton in the number 9 is finally there, donning the black number 9 tonight, inspired by Dale Earnhardt Sr., the 10-time race winner at the virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway. Well, he did it in real life. It looks like Patton is trying to replicate some of that racing prowess in the form of a paint scheme and then some. He's on the second lane, still driving hard. McFarland keeps it going. He'll be following Josh Gallagher as Sam Nieto pulls to the outside and takes Eric McFarland with him. Nicholas Ward ducking to the bottom himself. John Nabarro going to give a bit of a nudge. That gives Ward the opportunity now to send it into James Thurston. Here comes the chain reaction. 5 laps to go, coming to 4. Josh Gallagher sitting on the inside. He's got Thurston with him, and the University of Notre Dame Ford Mustang, for the first time all night long, is leading. They're bobbling back and forth. It's 3 wide from first down to 15th. Watch it. McFarland, middle 3, in a very, very precarious position, is trying to get a run, but can't quite. Nicholas Ward, his teammate, pulls up ahead. He'll try to keep that second lane afloat, but right now it's on life support as David Davis goes through. Brad Patton, 3 wide for the lead. DJ Stagner and Gallagher are with them. Remember, Patton needs to outfinish the number 33 of McFarland, and not only that, a win would lock him into the playoffs. 3 laps to do it. James Thurston stays on the inside. He has himself the spot he wants. Eric McFarland falling into the mid-pack right now, but better yet, he's still watching the lead fight ahead. Brad Patton, he gets tucked in a second. David Davis, your pole sitter, is the leader. Stagner surges on the outside. Contact! They'll wreck behind him. Caution's out. We're going to overtime. Sam Nieto involved, and a big hit for the number 2. Yellow flag will fly. Caution is out. Big wreck for Sam Nieto. Here's a 1-lap replay. Who else was involved is the question. Watch this. I'm going to slow it down. As 3 wide with some contact, Nieto and McFarland, what a team they were all race long. But I don't know what this means for those two guys. As a bang to McFarland and Keith. Eric stays straight with front end damage. Robert Richardson gets turned. Alex Kim, Ryan Potter, the 88 of Matthew Cornell. Caution. 2 laps to go. That will bring us to a green-white checkered. David Davis at the time of caution was the leader. Over Stagner and Brad Patton. For Eric McFarland, it is his first sign of any trouble. He's got damage. Keep that in mind, though, fans. He might not be in the best position, but he still is in it. If you take a look and a listen inside the cockpit, that'll tell you more of the story. Eric seems confident enough to stay the course. He'll go to pit road. Get some damage repairs. Big news. Could be bad if he can't get out there quick enough. He stays in it, holds on, but he's going to take the biggest gamble of his season and go to inside of pit road and make a call for some damage repair. He'll lose some track position. What he'll get in exchange is a cleaner car. That could get him the race lead, could get him back a lot closer. But a lot of other drivers make the call. If he's one of the first out, it could gain him track position enough to call the net zero. No loss, no gain. We'll see. David Davis is now in position, but Brad Patton, remember what we've talked about. It's Patton versus McFarland tonight. And save for maybe a fall off from Brock Potter, Eric McFarland has to beat Brad Patton. Right now, he's not doing that. He's done it all race long. He's done it for the better half of, as the white flag is, according to time, is going rolling. That is not the case. Unless otherwise noted, there is no indication of a green-white checkered. According to timing and scoring, ladies and gentlemen, the field is paused. And a call has not been given for a green-white checkered as we are used to in situations like this. The race has not been extended, and we are coming to the checkered flag. David Davis, under what we're looking at right now, is coming to the checkered flag to end this race as your race winner. For the first time in a super speedway this season, we are ending under caution. Barney the flagman is waving the checkered. If this is so, and we're looking to see if it is, David Davis is a winner at Talladega. Timing and scoring is not updated anything. We're looking to see from iRacing if this is the call. Generally, an update is given among drivers, and it appears that at the end of 94 laps, David crosses the line, and there has been given no indication of what has occurred here. Very likely a timing and scoring error. As you can see, Davis is still pacing around. So we'll reserve comment until we know for sure what's going on, because Davis is still pacing. And he's rolling now. Yellow flag no longer on the circuit. Timing and scoring has ended. David Davis is your winner. Wow. He's your pole sitter, and he's a first-time race winner. It all ends here. David Davis, DJ Stagner, and Brad Patton, your podium. Now, with the knowledge that the results froze at the end of the last caution, unofficially, Brad Patton will make the playoffs. We will wait for additional review, but David Davis, by all accounts, wins from Talladega. What a win for David Davis, making his way to the checkered flag and avoiding all the dramatics of the end-to-end race. A pole sitter and a winner, and Davis, who was already above the cut line, will lock himself in with a win like that. The motor blows for Davis. And he wins from Talladega. Post-race coverage, including a full assessment of the race results, will come after this. After 94 laps and a yellow flag, race over from Talladega. We'll be back with a message from your podium sitters after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Amid the caution, David Davis collects his first win of the season. What a win. 12 laps led in a pole position for the 13 as he is finally a race winner. The rookie breaks through at the end of the regular campaign. Next goes DJ Stagner in second. Brad Patton is third. Trevor Trey goes fourth with Josh Gallagher P5 and Cody Smith P6. James Thurston 7th, John Navarro 8th, Nicholas Ward 9th, and Zach Schrittenall is P10. 11th place then on the day. Well, we'll go right after that. He is Alex Kim. Kimby 11th, Sean Kalis 12th, Matthew Cornell 13th, Nick Tarbuck 14th, Brock Potter 15th, and Bobby Keith in 16th. Two of your biggest lap leaders, 17th in Eric McFarland leading 18 laps, and 19th in Sam Nieto, 24 laps led, 17th and 19th as Kevin Matz is 18th and Jacob Fife is 20th. 21st place is Robert Richardson, John Steele is 22nd, Nolan Potter 23rd, Ryan Potter 24th, Joe Yakes 25th, Eli Carr is 26th, and Randy Fiash P27, with Aaron Eads, Austin Cardules, and Ryan Bean wrapping up the top 30. Blake Cannon, Kent Wetherell, and Don Stevenson wrapping up the field in its entirety. Wow. Simply put, for David Davis, tonight was a hard fight. And at long last, he has made his way back into not only podium consideration, but the race win itself. For the 13 team, this is as big as it gets. Fastest in qualifying and a winner in Talladega. How does it feel?
It feels good. Not gonna lie, it feels really good.
David Davis, unbelievable.
Excited about this.
So how do you feel? Tell us more.
I feel really good. We were kind of we were on the bubble spot for the points to make the chase. So it was kind of a do or die moment. To be honest with you, we were trying to get Cornell in there as well. He was outside looking in. He needed a win. So the goal was him win, me be up there in the front with him. And that was perfect case scenario, but he ended up getting caught in a wreck. So thankfully things kind of worked out in our favor. And it feels good to win against this group.
Now, first things first, you were great in qualifying. How did that happen?
Honestly, Dega's I'm good at super speedways, or I shouldn't say good, just better at super speedways than I am the shorter tracks. So Dega's one thing I really like. I kind of understand the line. I'm not scared to push or be in the draft, so it just I'm comfortable there versus some of the other places where obviously Ethan and James and Sam and Jacob and all them guys fly through. I'm a little bit slower there, but Dega at least felt like I had a shot.
Now, overall, 94 laps of racing, a lot of it spent under green. How did you manage your strategy? I mean, we saw a lot of break aparts.
It was pretty tough. Eric was kind of leading the second half, and I don't know if it was Sam. I forget who was pushing him, but it was a good group. So our line was pretty fast. We were all pretty much working together. We all pitted together, and then I actually felt pretty good because there was 8 of us that I think we had like a 2-second lead on the second half of our pack, but like a 22-second lead on what would have been the main pack at the time coming out of the pits. And I was sitting 8th there, so I was happy with that. So to kind of come out in first is very happy.
Now, of course, you were already locked in before this all went down. You're in the playoffs firmly, and of course, it's your rookie season as a full-time driver. What are the expectations?
I mean, I'm just happy I'm in there, to be honest with you. A few of these guys in this league are really fast. So, if I come out top 10, I'm happy. I haven't truly iRaced very long. I know some of these guys either road race for a living, or iRace, for 5-10 years. I think we've had it for a year and a half, maybe going on 2 years. So, to be able to compete with these guys is pretty cool.
A big night for the 13 team, perhaps the biggest of the season, and a victory at Talladega. David Davis, any final shout-outs you'd like to send?
Obviously the team. We got Cornell, we got Robert, we got Austin. He unfortunately got in a wreck early. Race trailer accessories, anything true racing related, for your trailers, ramps, fuel jug holders, you name it, we sell it. Give us a call.
David Davis, the winner from the Talladega SuperSpeedway, pole and win on the night to end the regular season. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Davis collects victory, and for the final time in the regular season, one DJ Stagner makes his way back to the podium. One of the best at the super speedways, without a doubt, but it wasn't all smooth sailing for this 64 team that started in 26th and still finished in P2.
Yeah, tried to use the old school Swamp Motorsport strategy tonight and just kind of hang out at the back and make ourselves known with about 5 to go, and it went fairly well. I think everybody's probably in the same boat without knowing that we weren't having green, white checkers. I mean, that's just one of those things. Like, there's so much more I would have done different had I known. And I mean, everybody's in that same boat, but it's unfortunate to lose it that way. Technically led the last green flag lap. So, it is what it is. You've been around to see me win, several drafting races in fluky ways, and I guess now that's just kind of paying the tax on that a little bit, if you will.
Well, tonight, a little bit more difficult to stay up in the front. We saw some big breakaways when it came to strategy, and before the final set of cautions, in fact, it looked like you would be stranded among those outside of the top 10, top 15. What was it like managing that position? Of course, it looked like for a while there, big group breakaways. What was there to do for you to recover position?
Well, I personally had no intentions of pitting when I did. I think the group in front of me, like 4 cars directly in front of me, pitted. So myself, and I believe it was Nolan Potter. We kind of lost the draft because the 4 cars in front of us pitted. So we basically both audibled and pitted the next lap to try to regroup with them, and we did. The problem was, for some reason, we just couldn't get going. Like, that whole second pack, there was no momentum. I don't really know why. But yeah, got kind of lucky to catch that caution and start 13th on that restart. And at that point, with 10 to go, it was just, trying to move forward as quickly as possible. And yeah, I don't know. That's just one of those. It's kind of disappointing to end that way, but it's a good run overall. I mean, kind of accomplished the mission.
Well, without a doubt, it was one of those solid runs this team needed. While the playoff picture is still not possible, what are the expectations when it comes to the rest of the season and collecting victories?
Well, honestly, for me at this point, I missed most of the first half of the season with my nephews. I was a coach on his baseball team, and that certainly hurt my season. Like, even if I would have won tonight, I mean, I think I had 16 starts, and the minimum for playoffs is 17. So yeah, that was never really in play for me personally. But going forward, the last however many races we have, I would almost rather throw a crazy strategy at the wall and finish 30th, but maybe give myself a 1% chance to win the race. That's kind of it. Like, I'll sacrifice finishing 5th to try to win the race, even if that makes me finish 30th. Because, I mean, I've got really nothing to lose. I mean, it's basically win or nothing at this point.
Well, now the lone end goal is that victory, and just one spot away, a few more races to seize that opportunity as the playoffs get rolling in just a few days' time. DJ Stagner, any final shout-outs you'd like to send?
Yeah, just shout out to everybody at Swamp Motorsports. Ryan was in there, and he was in a must-win situation tonight, and he tried his best. He put himself in a pretty good spot, like I did. He just kind of got trapped on those last few restarts, and then got in the mess. So, it wasn't really his own doing. It's the way it plays out sometimes. You for the broadcast, Jacob and everybody for putting on the league, and I know tonight probably didn't go the way they wanted it to with the finish and the session being messed up, but I mean, I think you get to have one error every now and again in a league that's ran like this. So just shout out to all of them, and shout out to Dayron back at the shop and all the boys.
Second place on the day for the Swamp Motorsport crew. It's second from Talladega for DJ Stagner. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Now, the last of the podium today, just behind the 64 crew, Brad Patton. For Brad, remember, he started horribly. He started off the lead lap and had himself a remarkably difficult night that ends with a podium. It took a long time to get there, but for Patton, it still was possible. And it was so. Brad, third place after a tumultuous night in the race car. How did you get it done?
How about that? I have no damn clue how the hell we just did that, but I can't thank David enough. I can't thank DJ for working. I can't thank the guys that pit with me when it came down to me being like 10 laps shorter than everybody else. We had like 7 of us. I think it was the right call. The only problem was we all couldn't get hooked up. It was a hell of a race to be able to go a lap down at the start and then come back and finish third. To me, that's a win in my books, and I'm hoping this propels me on a nice playoff run starting now.
Of course, we talked about how this race started for you. You went 1 lap down to begin with. First and foremost, what was it like dealing with that, and how did you get in that situation?
So last week at New Hampshire, I was the cause of a few incidents, and I didn't think they were on me. I thought they were racing incidents, but moral of the story is if you think or you don't think that they are on you, just call it anyways, because that gets you to go through a drive-through penalty. So I had to serve that, and I thought for sure when I got wrecked, I think Ryan got into the back of me when we were just cruising in the middle of the pack. I thought the race was over with. I had 3 minutes of damage and was just slowly working on it. And then the last caution that came out when we were in that train and Kevin had some damage on the front end of his car to where he couldn't suck up to the bumper of the guy that was leading. Then we were all pushing. It was unfortunate for him. It's unfortunate for Eric. Eric had a hell of a race. He should have made the damn playoffs, but I think he got caught up in whatever that last caution was, which knocked like toe out or something. He had some damage, so I think luck prevailed for me tonight, and I was going to go down burning. Checkers or records is how I was feeling.
A race like this, your team makes it in as the final seed in the playoff picture. The question now becomes, what do you expect from this crew? It was an up and down regular season, but we've seen the speed. Now, what are the steps you can take to bring you back up to championship contending?
Well, it'd be consistency on finishing first. This season, it's been probably one of my worst seasons I've had in integrity when it comes to not finishing races or getting in wrecks. I think I was a little bit more aggressive at the start of the year when I could have been a little bit more safe to gain points. Got a new wheel, and now everything's just starting to feel right. So let's see if we can take this momentum. I don't even know where we race at next week. I wasn't planning on making the playoffs, but now that I'm in, I guess I got to do a little bit more grinding on the sim. And I just want to carry momentum and just have consistent top 10 finishes. I think I can move up the point standings, and who knows, maybe at the end I'll give Ethan a run for his money, or Nick, or one of those guys that have been like super this whole year. I want to finish how they've been finishing, and it all starts with winning a race.
Well, everything settles in just right tonight for that critical podium position. 16th seed, a long way to go, but the party has just started for Brad Patton. Any final shout-outs you'd like to send?
Yeah, I got to send out a shout-out to my teammate, Trevor. I think we both are in the playoffs, and I'm pretty positive this is the first time Wanagoon's had 2 of his drivers in integrity make the playoffs. So, hell yeah, let's go. Got to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. I'm going to thank Jacob and the admin team here for running this league. Like I said, I've been in this league for 12 years. Usually have better finishes than what I normally have been doing this year. So I think I'm going to make an exception to the qualifying. I don't like qualifying. Maybe we'll make a couple of races interesting, and hopefully I'll be in it for the championship at Homestead, my home track, because I plan on burning some walls down there.
Now the road to a championship really begins for Wanagoons, and particularly for yourself, Brad. 3rd today from Talladega. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good night, Dave.
Now, with the final man we've spoken to on the way, that wraps up tonight's coverage. Brad Patton 3rd, DJ Stagner 2nd, and David Davis, the number 13, collecting his first career victory under caution to win from Talladega. The dramatics of the Alabama International Motor Speedway never disappoint, and our playoffs begin next week. As you know, we often begin the playoffs in this series by going back to one of our favorites. It'll be a full-length Darlington race next week, August 25th, on a Tuesday night, as we've done many times before. We hope you join us on that next Tuesday night broadcast. We'll be next live on FTN on Thursday night as the Iora Cup Series goes to the Daytona International Speedway. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's racing action. I've been your host, commentating and producing. I'm David Kreutz. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel for more content. Congratulations to David Davis on collecting his first victory this season. We hope you have a fantastic night.